is designed to tickle the ears of children and seep into their consciousness that such a woman existed and still exists, hopefully in these words and in the air between us tonight. Ode to Odetta. Someone in Birmingham, Alabama, long, long time ago, must have accidentally burned the Christmas ham. Was it Birmingham or Birmingham, where Odetta learned to pound sound from Auntie's piano? In little Odetta's mind, she was wildly famous, playing for a sea of her folk, Mr. President clapping from the front row. Now, Auntie loved her niece and all, but not as much as she hated those headaches Odetta's piano playing caused. So Odetta had no choice but to shut the lid on all those pretty keys, zip the lip on her wildly famous dreams that she could make black keys and white keys work together to create sensational sound. Because in the Deep South, round Odetta's parts, black and white didn't mix so well. And when they did, it was mighty gray. Folk bending their backs in cotton fields from sunup to sundown, spirituals blooming from split lips, prison men on the chain gang dressed in stripes and chains, singing songs like slaves, working together like keys to create beautiful and furious prison songs. Songs of joys and sorrows, songs of rivers and sparrows, sorrow songs sung by the miracle Marian Anderson, tunes composed by cotton-picking greats, melodies peppered with the and of back-breaking work. Jeez, times were crazy, man. This cat named Jim Crow was so popular, kids Odetta's age must have thought he was president. He had signs above every fountain in the South saying whites only and for coloreds. These signs made Odetta look down. Were there fountains for her and her mama? It made Odetta feel not quite right. She and mama weren't white or colored, just like the world isn't up or down. She and mama were brown. And the day they boarded the train to California was one Odetta would never forget. 'Twas the day she met President Jim Crow himself. His eyes were glacier blue, his hair the color of smoke. Seemed he came all the way from White House land just to tell Odetta's folk that they had gone too far. They were sitting in the wrong train car. Whites up front, blacks in the rear, said Jim Crow's pin-sharp eyes and needle-straight hair. Everyone watched Odetta's folk load their lives up in their arms and exit the car dang near tiptoe, all 'cause Jim Crow said so. Odetta's black fist clenched and unfurled, clenched and unfurled. What could she do? After all, she was just a scared black girl in this grown-up, messed-up world. This black girl from Burning Man, Alabama, had no song to sing, no pot to stir her sorrows in. The birdcage in her throat imprisoned her bird, its door tightly hinged. Farewell, Birmingham, from the cramped Jim Crow car, from the cramped Negro car. In Los Angeles, city of steeples, there was only one kind of water fountain, the kind for thirsty people. Though Odetta grew good and tall, she learned Jim Crow wasn't a man at all, just a bunch of silly laws to remind black folk to pause and feel badly about themselves. Jim Crow, no heart, no lungs, just daughters and sons. Mama could finally afford Odetta piano lessons now that she was a teen. Remember all those pretty keys shining like Afro sheen? Odetta peeled back the lid, still determined to make black keys and white keys work together to create amazing sound. Odetta found freedom by accident the day she opened her mouth and closed her eyes and sang. For once she saw no color. That's when she shook hands with harmony. The birdcage in her throat grew too small for her bird and its door unhinged. And Odetta couldn't just sing. Odetta could sing. To sing is to sing like you need the music as much as birds need sky. Have you ever heard a song come from deep in the knees? Have you ever heard her baby cry? Baby. Odetta's guitar. Pure heaven, clothed in wood, string, silence. Named a baby because it weighed a ton. Named a baby because she held it like one. There's the prince of pop and the king of rock and roll. But they're the egg whites, so who's the yolk? Odetta, queen of folk. Folk music, bulldozer of sound. Tunes that paved the way, created the fray, make you cry like pepper spray. Watch poets swoop up guitars, bob their heads and pick their fingers numb, try to echo that Odetta strum. Watch women kink up their hair, look in their mirrors and feel better. Thousands of women rocking the throne known as the Odetta. The microphone, her throne. The Odetta, her crown. When the queen of folk closes her eyes and sings hard, she travels all the way back down to the swamps, the cotton fields, the chain gang, the church. To Jim Crow said so, to heck no, we won't go, to her very first memories, spirituals and melodies peppered with the and of spirit-breaking work. Now we might not all sing the same, but we can all sing along. Let's sing with the queen of folk this wildly famous song. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, help me out, y'all. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Black keys and white keys working together to create harmonious sound. Peace, y'all.
Thank you, Tayamba and